Happy Sunday.
Whoa,
happy
boy.
Sunday.
All right.
Ch-ch-chia.
You want to do one of them claps?
Ch-ch-ch-chia.
Yeah.
Ch-ch-ch-chia.
Yes.
All right. Let's do a clap.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Excellent. We did it. Oh wait, we should start recording. All right, let's do this thing.
I'm recording.
Hello and welcome to episode 548 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, May 9th, 2017. I'm your host, Chris Johnston. With me, as always, probably watching a hockey game as we record or something like that, Mr. Greg Seward.
I am not watching a hockey game as we record.
No? Is there one going on while we record, or did we dodge that?
There probably is, but I'm only interested in the Penguins Washington series, so it's not happening right now.
All right, then. Fine. Don't watch hockey while we record. Joining me from the great state of California, Mr. Filthy Evolved. Hello.
Hello. How's it going?
Hi. It's going well. How about
Yeah.
yourself? You got some World of Nintendo figures I saw on Twitter.
I do. I just got a new one today. I got 8-bit Star Power Luigi there. He's all
Nice.
shiny.
That's freaking your camera out there.
Yeah, really went crazy.
Is it really?
It is.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
That's kind of weird.
Funky.
And joining us from the great state of California, Mr. Ethan Einhorn. Hello.
Hello. I'm sitting here in my own little pile of shame because my daughter informed me that she has gotten.
You know, there's a whole room in your house for that.
Oh, yeah, that's true. My daughter did let me know that she has collected all the memories and re-challenged Ganon so that she could see the second better ending. So now she is fully ahead of me, and I have to go back and do the same.
I don't know if I would call it better. I mean, it's an extra thing at the end, but it's not like a better ending.
Okay, well, if it's something that a 10-year-old can effectively lord over a 42-year-old, that's what's happening here.
Yeah, well, then yes.
Yes.
That can definitely happen. Yeah.
She can also lord her youth over you.
She can. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Apparently, her
True.
generation's supposed to live on average till about 110. So, and we learned last night, actually, or a couple nights ago, as we were doing.
I think we should qualify that. In other first world countries, her generation will live to 110.
Yes, that's fair. That's fair.
Your
Phil
children
and
can't
I-
afford to live to 110.
As long as she doesn't get sick,
yeah.
she'll be okay.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Phil and I got together to see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and we did some research before the show. Somehow the conversation moved to Kirk Douglas, which Greg Ford insisted he had seen a recent interview, which we thought was ridiculous because, of course, Kirk Douglas is dead. But no, he's not. He's 100 years old. Still quite alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kirk Douglas is kicking.
Didn't he have a stroke or something though? That I seem to remember them trotting him out at the Oscars a fair amount of years back, and he could barely talk.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I seem to remember that as well.
Could be.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the news. Shall we?
Sure, okay.
Let's
Please.
talk about season passes and DLC
Oh, boy.
because I want to get Ethan's take on this because Nintendo announced the Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia DLC packs and the season pass. So the season pass is
$42, right?
$44.99. The game itself is
okay.
$39.99. I'll have you know. So $5 more than the game itself. Includes 5 different DLC packs that can also be bought separately, but more expensive than the base game. What do you think? What's your hot take?
So my hot take is that Fire Emblem's Fates did the same times 2. Remember, Fire Emblems had 2 fully distinct scenarios, regardless of whether you started with Conquest or Birthright. And so I love that game. I put more than 200 hours into it. I actually still haven't yet purchased the third one because I haven't gotten to the bitter end of Conquest. But if that's anything to go by, they pack quite a lot of content in that DLC. So for me, the bigger issue isn't will I buy that game in that DLC because the price is okay to me. The bigger issue is just that I don't know if I want to carry around my 3DS again for 200 more hours. But beyond that, I'm okay with the pricing, provided they give me the same amount of content they did before. And again, it's like exactly how much it costs. There's a top end there. It is spend capped, so I'm totally fine with it.
All right. I assume the rest of us are not going to purchase this game anyway. So
No.
I mean, I did play previous Fire Emblem games, but I never downloaded any DLC for those experiences. But
yeah,
just looking at the list here, it seems like a good amount of content when you add it up. So not and you can buy whatever of it you want, or you can just not buy any of it.
Yeah, I've always been
forcing you to buy it this time.
They're not forcing you to buy it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's different.
You can buy a piecemeal. Yeah, you get
But don't forget, there's
30%
also
off.
some amiibos for this game too that are coming out.
That's true.
So, amiibos plus season pass. Yeah.
You supposedly save about 30% if you end up getting it all in one shot. Yeah, I mean, again, buying content is not a problem to me. I think that's fine. It extends the gameplay in a meaningful way.
Yeah, to me, the way I feel about it is the way I feel about all DLC, right? If it's a game that you enjoy and the company who makes it is offering to give you more of that experience for a little money, even if it's more expensive than the base game, as long as you feel like you're getting your money's worth out of it, I think it's fine. I mean, so often we buy, well, in the past, so often publishers have offered season passes with no detail on what you'll be getting. Here you have a game
like Nintendo.
They have detailed. Well, yeah, Nintendo did that with
Zelda
Breath of the Wild, sort of. But here they've detailed what's coming out in the in 4 of the 5 packs. In the 5th pack, it seems like that might be a story spoiler for them to reveal, so they haven't revealed any of that yet. But
and I think the important thing to remember is, just like Breath of the Wild, if you just pay the base $60, you get an incredibly comprehensive experience with a really satisfying beginning, middle, and end. It's not like you're getting an incomplete package in any way there, and I would imagine that's going to be the case with the new Fire Emblem game also.
That's right. And speaking of Breath of the Wild, Nintendo has detailed what will be in the first expansion.
Tingle costume
of that game. Yes, including a Tingle outfit, a Majora mask, Midna's helmet, a Phantom armor, and a Korok mask. Plus, you get the map feature that they were talking about is apparently you'll be able to look at the map and see where you've gone for the last 200 hours of gameplay.
Yep, I think that's pretty cool.
That's pretty handy for figuring out where you should go next. Or
I gotta be honest, I can't believe that that's something that they're saying you should have to pay for. But yeah.
Well, apparently there's some interview where they said the things offered here are things they thought of very late in development, so then
push them out as free updates.
Well, not in this case.
No,
but they did.
It's great that they thought them at the very end, but I mean that's okay. So I don't charge me for it.
Update.
Don't charge me for it.
Well, they didn't. It's just
the map function.
They did an update this past week that they're not charging you for, and that allows you to change the game audio to whatever language you want.
Ooh,
so now you can finally play Japanese with English subtitles.
Seriously, you don't the map thing. You don't think that's ridiculous? That's something you have to pay for?
I actually side with Greg on this one. I think it's something that you should just get for free. Yeah. Same thing with the hard mode as well.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
I'm not going to play the hard mode. The hard mode. So
neither am I.
Hard mode, they are bumping the enemies up one level, and then also including enemies in the sky. Which, if you've seen the images of that, it's like floating platforms with enemies on them.
Yeah.
Honestly, the reason I stumped for the $20 is because I was excited about the idea of before the end of the year getting a new dungeon.
Yes.
To me, that's worth it. That's worth the whole $20 for me.
Do you
And
mean
so
a dungeon,
if I,
or is this just a? This game doesn't have dungeons. What are you talking
well,
about?
right.
They said in DLC Pack 2 you'll have a dungeon.
about? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yes. And a new story bit in that as well. But this it has a new combat challenge, the Trial of the Sword area.
That sounds cool too. I mean, especially since it unlocks something that is of permanent value with the Ultimate Master Sword. That's kind of cool.
That's right. They've said it's the true power of the Master Sword that will awaken after you've gone through about 45 rooms in total of combat. And very much like Eventide Island, you start with nothing.
Well, here's another thing too, is that this is going to reward the people that kept right on getting hearts and possibly stamina, kind of justifying all that extra time spent, because I would presume that that's going to help you get past the last of the stages there if you are fully powered up.
Good, yeah.
So it just gives me a better feeling of incentive to keep on collecting those hearts and finishing those shrines, because I know that I can put it towards finishing that goal.
Yes, and then also there's a travel medallion feature, which will allow you to place a single fast travel marker anywhere on the map.
Again, that should come for free.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but almost everything you're describing should be like a free update. Maybe the Trial of the Sword is something you pay for, but
I guess so. I wouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to rain on the parade, but like that is not exciting. Give me a whole new quest.
That's what they're doing
Or
in the
for that-
DLC Pack 2.
Okay,
yeah,
then
yeah.
DLC back 2, sure.
Well,
So
then
make this one free.
Charge,
then. I don't know.
Charge for 2.
two.
Well, you're basically doing that because you have to pay the $20. You can't buy them separately.
That's not a good thing. It's
can
not a good thing. So
Yeah,
basically,
well,
what they're doing is throwing a bunch of crap that should be free to add up the perceived value of DLC Pack 2 by forcing you to buy everything all at once.
Yeah.
That's
It's
insane.
pretty-
I'm sorry.
It's pretty stingy compared to the way they doled out content for Mario Kart 8 with DLC. That was
Yeah, that was
great.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
There are
saying
4 new
there's not
tracks
enough
and some
to do
new
in Breath of the
characters? Give us
Wild
a-
and-
I am not saying that at all. I am not saying that at all. I am saying that this is ridiculous. There's more than enough to do in Breath of the Wild.
True.
If you're willing to walk 15 minutes.
I think in the least, what they could have done is on a lot of these features, like the Korok mask and stuff like that, maybe they make it so that people who have paid for the pass get it a month early, but eventually it is made available to everyone, and that's made clear, or something like that. Because really, again, it is content that doesn't really make sense to not offer the rest of the game community.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just like if you're gonna pay for DLC, like open up a new part of the map or something. Like, hey, look,
Yeah.
surprise! If you scroll to the right, there's a whole like continent that's like maybe a quarter of the size of the game or something like that.
Yeah,
That's,
more content.
Yeah.
Happily pay for that. Happily.
Yep.
Not for hard mode, not for a Majora's Mask, not for. Anyway.
Well, and actually, that's a good point. I would be beyond delighted if this Breath of the Wild game stood as a base product, and then every year we got a new part of the map to explore that was, 30, 40 hours of gameplay. That would be incredible.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see where they go next with Zelda just in general, because this game is so huge and so good, and they could certainly add on to it.
Yeah, well,
and-
wouldn't it be interesting, for instance, to say, all right, the classic fight between Ganon and Zelda and Link, that's resolved. And so now they have more adventures that have nothing to do with that, moving past the kind of traditional story of Zelda.
Ganon and Zelda and Link are going to have adventures?
No.
Like
What I'm saying
Riverdale.
is that story is done, right?
Oh, okay.
And so what happens after that? That would be fun to explore. No, I don't think it's going to be like they're all running around in carts, in Hyrule.
Zelda Kart. We got a Zelda karting. I would totally be down with that.
Yeah, I do hope that the Mario Kart 8 successor is an all Nintendo characters thing, and that we see Ganondorf on a cart. I really hope we see that.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I would pay money for that. I would pay $60 for that. I would pay upwards
I
of
would too.
$60 All right. Well,
the only
Kotaku.
problem with the Zelda Kart is that you'd have to drive around in a barren wasteland for 20 minutes if you actually found a course to ride on.
Ouch.
Amen, Phil. Amen, little buddy.
Yeah, that's
Korok challenges everywhere.
It's true.
Korok challenges. Anyway.
Wow, you're really down on Zelda.
When you say Korok challenges, it just kills me because 90% of those things are just lifting up a rock.
Yeah,
not a challenge.
Sure, it is.
Hey, look, a rock.
You found a bush.
You found the rock.
Well, sometimes it's picking up multiple rocks and placing them.
Okay, never mind then.
In the right.
when you put it that way, it sounds so much more exciting.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I am glad personally I do not have the OCD that would require me to find all 900 of those because just doesn't sound fun to me. I know some people love that, but I am in no way going to be a completionist on that level.
No. I haven't even done Eventide Island.
Oh, but you should do that.
Eventide Island, I will say that if there was more of that in the game, hey, I'm all for it.
Well, there is. Yeah. There's the trials mode.
I'm not paying more for that. But that is the only thing in that whole list that you described there. That is the only thing that would be worth paying a little bit for. Yes.
But you're gonna want that. You're gonna want that dungeon and extra story bit that comes out before the end of the year. You're gonna want that.
Not if I pay $20 for it. Depends on how long it's gonna be.
Well, you won't be paying $24, or you won't be paying $20 because it'll be like $24, $29 in Canada.
Oh, I hate you.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this Kotaku story from last week, saying that the Mario Rabbids RPG that was rumored back in the fall that never reared its head in the Switch reveal or in the press conference they had in January. Apparently, they are saying that it is a real thing if the assets that they have seen are true.
I'm glad we're not just a Nintendo podcast.
That's all that's happening. There's no other news. If you want to add something to the outline, please go ahead.
No, I'd rather just sit back and snark.
Okay. We want to talk about how Overwatch made $1 billion?
Yes. Yes.
You don't want to talk about that with me on the podcast.
Loot crates a poppin'.
Yeah.
So yeah, this Mario Rabbids RPG thing, it has Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, and Toad, and then it has Rabbid characters dressed as all of them as well.
Yeah.
So I guess my take on that is
involved too. Like they described that the Mario characters had guns of some sort.
What?
I don't know what that means, but
I mean, Sonic did it, so
yeah.
Please.
All I can say is sure. I mean, if it's good, if it's done by Ubisoft Montreal, that'll probably actually be very good. I do wonder if Rayman's going to be in there because the Rabbids was an extension of Rayman.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I don't like the Rabbids that much personally, but if it's a good Nintendo themed RPG, I'm certainly up for it.
Yeah. Nobody played the last Mario RPG. That should come to Switch. And give more people.
Which one was that?
I
Color Splash.
Oh yeah, right.
That was really good. It was really good.
I didn't play it.
Oh,
was it?
Your loss. Do you have a copy of it though, right?
I do. Yeah.
Because
was it really good?
I thought it was good.
I heard it was okay.
It was finicky. You had to deal with the stickers quite a bit, and there was a lot that you had to manage.
It was the one where the combat didn't really matter, right?
Yeah, you weren't leveling up. That's right.
Yeah,
because it was a card-based system.
Yeah, so there was really no point in.
Yes, it's card-based.
Yeah.
So
there was no
grinding
point in
didn't give
fighting.
you any benefit. Yeah.
Well, fighting at all didn't give you any benefit.
Right.
So I like my RPGs to have absolutely no point to the combat. Yeah, that game wasn't that good.
What? Did you play it?
Yes.
Yeah, you guys talked about it on the show.
Yeah, we discussed it on the show. I made the point about how the combat is meaningless and therefore the game is kind of pointless.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And Ethan's showing it to us on the camera that he has it right there.
Yeah.
Tough
guy's got a game.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we'll find out at E3 what
Yeah.
what is real and what is not.
And to be fair, I am more excited about that than if they just brought Color Splash to the Switch. I do like the idea of all new content. So
they can't keep going. Yeah, they can't keep going on and just re-releasing Wii U games on this thing, though.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that it's just a couple of the staples that you'll see that. I think Smash is a no-brainer, and maybe we'll see Pokemon, as has been rumored. But beyond those big titles,
Pokemon.
I don't.
It's pronounced
Yes.
Pokemon.
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 Yeah, close.
Yeah. But
I think
I don't.
You have to tread lightly with that, though, right? Because I agree with you that there are a lot of great Wii U games that I would love to play portably.
You don't want it to look like a dumping ground for games nobody bought 3 years ago.
Right, exactly. You don't want that to become the headline. So
that's exactly what Microsoft and Sony did in the first year of their current consoles.
Yes,
and it didn't work out
true.
so well, right? So
yeah.
I think it's fine if it's a part of the mix and they're very careful with which titles they choose and that they provide meaningful updates. Having the battle mode in Mario Kart 8, that was a really nice addition. If they were to bring Smash, I would certainly hope they'd offer something substantial that's like that kind of 25% more to the package.
Yeah. You know, we should move into what we've been playing now, because we can talk about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And one of the things I want to mention there is, you know, it's great that they added battle mode. I'm not really a battle mode player, so whatever. But they should have used some of that time to make the online, especially like the tournament setup, make more sense.
Suck. Yeah.
Like setting up a tournament in there, I'm not sure what like 3 or 4 of the options even are. So... and when I set the time on the P1 Game Night tournament, which I played last Friday with a bunch of listeners, and it was totally awesome. But for some reason, the time that I set is not correct with the time zone that I'm in. It starts like an hour later than I have it set for. I have it to start at 20 hours or whatever.
Eastern.
Yeah. Anyway, it actually begins at 9 p.m. Eastern, which is wrong.
Well, let's be honest.
Hours.
It's a real bummer that you have no voice chat also at this point. Like maybe we could set up a Discord server or something like that and do it that way, but that should be natively in the game.
Well, but they've also gone backwards then with that, because Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, if you'll remember, if you created a friend room, you could use voice chat in the lobby.
Oh, okay.
Here you cannot do that. So that's another thing that I'm hoping comes out of E3 is details on that mobile phone app.
Yeah.
No. What I'm hoping out of E3 is that they add voice chat, you know, like everyone else did 10 years ago.
That's what I'm talking about.
Come on.
That's what he's talking about. Yeah.
You're talking about using your mobile, having that. That's just slightly better than having to set up a Discord server.
Right. No, I totally agree with Greg on that as well.
Or Skype.
But I'm looking for any official solution, even if it's not a great one, because something is better than nothing.
Yeah, that's what Nintendo's counting on.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the
motto.
big weaknesses of the device. Absolutely.
Better than nothing.
Better than nothing. Nintendo Switch. Better than nothing.
Wow. So we've all been playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yes.
I'm playing a lot of it. I've almost got 3 stars on every 150cc race.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I have one. I have one left to go.
Yeah, I've been finding. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say. It's going to say that for me, I've been finding that 200cc is not as impossibly hard as I assumed it would be, and I'm really feeling the tension of that. So when I get a win there and I get a gold trophy, it feels great, but it doesn't feel unattainable by any means.
Yeah. Do you use the auto acceleration in the game?
No.
Why would you do that?
Because I'm finding it to actually be kind of useful to have auto acceleration on and then focus on braking if I have to.
I will say, I think that for me, the reason I don't use it is because I don't use my brakes in Mario Kart. I feather the throttle to control my
Well,
speed.
there is no brake button, is there? Because
Yes,
there is.
Yeah,
I was
I
looking at the
honestly
menu.
didn't
even
know
see
there
it.
was one.
He is brake.
What's that? Wait, what's
anyway,
that? Which button?
B button.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even think it was there.
It's the same one that reverses you.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, but what I wanted to bring up is I forget who it was, but somebody in our forum brought up a really good point. I mean, from an accessibility, like people were talking about this in our forum in the show thread, I think, and as an accessibility feature, it's actually very nice because, yeah, you can. Well, I mean, some people just can't do this, but you can really add a lot of strain. It's a lot of strain on your hand to keep your, your claws pressed together like that for long periods of time, even though you don't realize it's happening. I mean, it is a thing. So I know that was a really good point, that it definitely can alleviate that problem, especially, again, and I know people don't like it when I say this, but the Joy-Cons are so thin that it is actually a thing that's a problem.
Well, if you play it with just Joy-Cons, where you have the Joy-Con rotated,
oh god, that's terrible.
Like, and having to press on that accelerator, that is a hand cramp.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Even using the L trigger to hold an item down is tough.
I can't. So it's funny because you mentioned this last week, and it didn't register with me. So I tried playing 2-player using just the Joy-Cons with the little whatever they are, the grips that slide on,
the strap, Joy-Con strap,
Joy-Con straps, and yeah, man, that is awful. Like the shoulder buttons are so spongy that you really have to press them.
Yes.
To engage. And then I found, like, because the way I normally play is I think most of us, if you have a shell or something, if you're leading, you drag it behind you to act as a shield. I couldn't reliably keep something dragging behind me. I felt like I wasn't letting up the pressure, and then it would just disappear. It would let go.
Right.
And it's like, wow, this is not only is this painful, but it's infuriating.
Yeah.
So not using the Joy-Cons to play like that anymore.
In a pinch, it works. But then your nerves are also pinched in your hands, and
exactly, it is. They're not a viable alternative. You're right. If there's absolutely no other option, sure. And for something like snipper clips, it makes sense. Snipper clips, they're easy to use because the game. Is,
somebody say snippy clips, snippy clippies.
But anyway, a game where you're not under a tremendous amount of time constraint, or you don't have to worry about really super quick and precise control. Great.
Yeah.
Fine.
I found that that setup works really well in the Neo Geo games, and I almost wonder if that's one of the reasons they chose them, because it matches up actually pretty well with exactly what the old Neo Geo controllers offered.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. But I mean, it's definitely not the best solution for something like Mario Kart. What I'm finding frustrating is, as I've been spending so much more time on the game this time around than I did last time, I'm also getting more frustrated with how often you can be in the lead and just have like hit after hit after hit that you're just in no control of, make you fall back. And it's just like, I know that that's how it's designed, and there's that kind of element of chance, but when you feel like you've really kind of nailed a run, and you know exactly when to drift, and you're hitting every single mark, and you come in 12th, not like 4th, but like 12th, that can be really frustrating, especially when it happens repeatedly.
Welcome to Mario Kart.
Yeah,
I know.
Mario Kart before?
No, of course I have, but again, not as much as I have now.
Well,
yeah. So
to me, even worse than that is, being first, I think it is okay, because especially if you have 2 items and you're dragging something behind you, I think that's gives you a little bit of a safety net. But if you're like in 3rd or 4th, that can just become crazy, because you've got the pack behind you who want to advance, and they're shooting off green shells and red shells all the time, and they get some of the power-ups that you don't get up at the top of the heap. They get the invincibility, or they get the bullet bill, so you can get even more screwed if you're not towards the front.
That's why we need F-Zero. We need a new F-Zero. Take all that crap out of these racing games and just have F-Zero.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, but nonetheless, the ability to take it everywhere, it really has changed how much I played it. Because I got really excited about Mario Kart when it launched on Wii U, but it was just not as deeply entrenched as a part of my routine. What I'm doing or did last week, I would bring my lunch to work. I'd eat my lunch while I was getting work done, and then my lunch break, I'd just go to Starbucks and for an hour play the game and just do multiplayer, and it felt great.
Yeah, it's a really good game. I like it a lot. I like all the courses.
I'm curious though.
Courses.
When I hear that though, I am curious because is it a bigger part of your routine because the Switch is the new thing you've got and there aren't that many games for it yet, so you would be playing something on the Switch and this just happens to be the latest thing?
That could certainly be part of it. If there was a much larger library of games, I might not necessarily gravitate so heavily to this. But at the same time, it is a game that gives me enough feedback to say I'm improving, to make me feel good about continuing to play, even with the problem of getting hit over and over again at times that I can't control. I think that a big part of it is that for any game that requires me to build up a level of skill, in the past, historically, I just haven't had time for that. And so something like Overwatch, the big problem is I could only do that if I wanted to play at night after everyone went to bed. So I just literally didn't have enough time to play it to get good. So I always sucked, you know? And now finally with skill-based games, I'm assuming the same thing's going to be the case with Splatoon. Since I have more cycles in the day to actually get better at the game, I can enjoy the idea of a competitive game more than I have in a long time.
Yeah.
Cool.
I really hope I'm sure we will hear more about Splatoon single player content. I hope it's expanded from what the first game offered. I really liked the story mode in the first game, but I want more of that. Or I also want to be able to play that the horde mode thing that they just announced in the Nintendo Direct, Salmon Run. I want to be able to play that offline by myself or with AI partners.
For sure.
Because that would be a really fun lunchtime thing when you're away from an internet connection to just play some of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Grind
a quick aside, I don't know if any of you have picked up the new copy of Edge, but ARMS is on the cover, and it's a really great article, and they're very, very positive about that game. They're calling it and I'm paraphrasing, but like a new Nintendo, Classic. It's something that they're saying is a lot deeper mechanically than it looks when you're watching, the directs.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to get my hands on that.
I've heard a lot of great things about ARMS, and I think there was some comment. It might have been in the Edge piece, but somebody made a comment that they've shown like 6 or so characters, but apparently there's a lot more that they haven't shown yet in the game.
Okay.
So yeah,
it would be nice to hear. It would be nice to hear it come out and just find out that there's just like an endless supply of characters to play as. Like,
yeah, or like a ton of depth.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
Or hopefully season pass.
Yeah, I'm not all that. Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be more expensive than the game itself. I'm not really interested in using the motion control in ARMS.
Neither am I.
I want to play it with a pad, but I am really interested in the game because it does kind of seem like a modern day Punch-Out.
Yes.
Yep.
It could definitely be.
Well, it seems maybe to me almost more like a modern day Virtual On. That's what it looks like it might be. So, but that's the thing.
I can see that.
It's interesting to see what it actually is because, it certainly doesn't look like any kind of traditional fighter. But, the other thing Edge was saying was much like Splatoon was kind of Nintendo's take on Call of Duty. This is, they're saying Nintendo's take on the fighter, right? And it's just so radically different.
This is Nintendo's take. This is Nintendo's take on Punch-Out.
No. On like your Tekkens or Street Fighters or whatnot. Like just they're saying it fits more into that category, but we'll see.
All right. Well, Ethan, I think we're the only ones that have played anything other than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe this week.
Right.
If the outline is to be believed, you also played TumbleSeed?
I did. Yeah. Yes.
What do you think?
Oh, the new Ron Gilbert adventure game.
No,
I'm very excited to hear about this.
You think about Thimbleweed?
Oh, never mind.
No, what I like about it is that it doesn't feel like anything else I've played before. It is really clever. It plays well to the dual analog stick setup. It's for whatever reason, it reminds me of kind of a much harder version of Rolando, which is a game maybe not everyone remembers, but you probably do, CJ, which was a $10 iOS game that was also very, very good. It's almost too difficult for me. It's a roguelike, and so it's pretty punishing. You don't get to keep any of your progression. But then again, if you end up getting a longer run by a significant margin than you did before, it feels really, really good. I don't know that I will ever finish the game, but it's definitely nice to have digitally. And I think my longest run so far has been like 7 minutes or something. So I'm really not very good at the game. But
yeah, so I keep coming back to it because it got some good reviews. And I like the visual style. And in the game, you use the dual analog sticks to basically like push a seed up this mountain, right? And depending on the angle there's basically a line between the two edges that you're pushing up. So you can tilt them back and forth and sort of bring the seed up the mountain. I don't know if you've played any of those like old labyrinth games, like trying to get a marble around. It's sort of like that a little bit.
Yeah.
And I really like the visuals. I love the music. I like the style. I kind of hate the difficulty because it is a really challenging game, but it starts off really difficult. And it like doesn't even let you get your sea legs before they're dumping a ton of crap on you.
And boy, is it sensitive. I mean, you move one stick at a level of imbalance with the other, and it just rolls like with lightning speed. It's not subtle at all.
To me, it's like the developers had a playtester who stayed with them through the entire production of the game, and they thought what they made level 1 or like the beginning of the game, they thought that was going to be too easy for everybody. When it was really too easy for them, and not like too easy for new players.
It makes me wonder if they get enough feedback to that effect, if they'll end up patching it to make it a little less challenging. But the other thing is,
I think they really should like leave the super challenging stuff to the daily challenge, which it offers as well. And a lot of roguelikes do this, where they have like an extra daily challenge thing, but not have the game start off so tough. Like they have enemies right from the beginning that will seek you out, like they're homing enemies, and you have at the very beginning you have almost no way to deal with those. My favorite thing is the little parts. You'll be guiding a seed through this maze, and something will pop up and explode and kill you. And it's like, well, I didn't even see anything there. There was nothing there a second ago.
Yeah.
And it just popped up, exploded, and killed me. Like, and this is in the first 3 minutes of the game.
This was a challenge also with Has Been Heroes. That is another roguelike that is punishingly hard. And if you don't understand the rhythm, you will lose over and over and over again. I much prefer the way Binding of Isaac is structured, because that's a lot friendlier right from the beginning.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. And I kind of think that if this was just on like PlayStation 4 or Xbox, where there's a lot of game choice, I don't know that this would be getting as positive reviews as it is, because I think you're right that like being able to play something like this anywhere and having it in your digital library, the fact that it's an amazing amount of challenge, like you still come back to it because there's not a lot of stuff to play on the Switch right now. So of course you're going to go back to it. You don't have any alternatives, but yeah, I really, really do think and hope they go back and patch it, just because I want to play the game. But man, don't make the first 3 minutes of the game that hard.
No, I agree. I'll say this much: I'd rather play this than Super Bomberman R. There's right. I mean, there's a lot of games out there that are on the Switch that I would be a lot less likely to pick up again. But the thing that I think I like most about this is, as I said, I've just never played anything quite like this before. It's very hard to make comparisons, and so maybe that's one of the other reasons it got pretty positive reviews, is that most critics have seen pretty much every type of game many times over. And so when you offer that audience something that hasn't been seen before, there's going to be just a natural inclination to reward that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
And it's a nice, clean-looking game. I do like the graphical style of it quite a bit.
it is. I love the graphical style. I like the personality. Like all the dialogue is really funny. It's just too challenging. Like it has this very friendly kiddie style visuals, and it's super punishing. And that's like really at odds with that.
Yeah, I can see that. And that's the thing is this one of those games that I wouldn't necessarily recommend to people unless you really are a completionist or want something that is going to try your patience. But the average player, I would not recommend play this. Actually, one other game I did want to suggest, and I forgot to put it on my list. Have you tried Kamiko yet?
I have not.
We didn't talk about that. It's the $5 Switch game, and the game lasts about an hour and a half. It's a simple set of puzzles. It's an 8-bit styled game, but for $5, that's one that is not punishing in the way that Tumbleweed is, and TumbleSeed, pardon me. Yeah, and is similarly good looking and unique feeling. So for $5, that's one that I would definitely recommend people give a try. It's not at all like Zelda, as some people have suggested it is, and that's what it looks like when you look at the screenshots. But it's more of just kind of a top-down adventure where you're opening up doors and finishing puzzles. But yeah, it's pickings are still fairly slim on the Switch, and TumbleSeed is I think just for the chorus of the core.
Yeah.
Worth pointing out, I forgot to put this on my list, but for anybody who doesn't know, there is a Blaster Master Zero demo on the Switch now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Came out this week. So if you've been holding off on buying that because you haven't had a chance to try it, now's your chance.
Did you try it? Did you play it?
I did. Yes, I did. I played. It lets you play 2 levels. Let's play the first level, which is all I really played of it, which is clearly based on the first level of the original game.
Sure.
I'm not crazy about it. I gotta be honest.
Really?
I thought I would be.
Wow.
I'm not sure why. I can't really put my finger on it yet. I'm gonna play the other level that's offered in the demo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also did not try it using the Pro Controller. I was only using the Joy-Cons. So
yeah,
maybe that's the problem. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about it that just it wasn't what I was expecting.
Okay.
What were you expecting?
Phil, you're kind of roboting there.
Yeah, I think it's a problem with your mic, actually.
It's your mic.
That's weird. Let me turn my camera off.
Well,
I don't think that's the problem.
That's not going to help. That's not going to help.
No,
it's your mic. It sounds like it's your mic connection.
Oh, great.
Stop recording and start recording. If you unplug your mic.
I did not unplug my mic.
You may have to unplug your mic.
You're gonna have to unplug your mic.
Okay.
What was I gonna say?
You're talking about Blaster Master.
Yeah. No, I didn't use the I haven't used the Pro Controller yet. So I played using the a mix of the directional buttons and the actual analog stick. One of the things that I have a problem with is actually I don't like the way Sophia the Third jumps. It doesn't feel right. And maybe it's just because I have so many hours in the original game. But I find her really hard to land where I want her to. So that was getting a little bit frustrating. And the overhead stuff it felt about right. It feels about right. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna play through for $10. I'll probably still grab it eventually anyway, because I'm gonna play through the other level that it offers. But I mean, the game is so cheap that I'll probably take a chance on, if I find that even just a little bit interesting, which I do, then it's still probably worth picking up. But I don't know. I was expecting to be really, after listening to you talk about it, I was expecting to be kind of blown away by the demo, and I really wasn't. Maybe that was the problem. Maybe my expectations were a little too high.
I think that is the problem. Your expectations were too high.
Yeah.
You did it to yourself.
I really did. You sound better now, Phil.
Good.
Much better.
Good.
So anyway, yeah. Sorry, it's out there though. Don't let me discourage you from downloading a free demo, but it's not always like widely announced that there's a demo for games like this on the eShop. So
True.
There you go. It's out there.
The main game got updated as well.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they added some DLC characters that are free for the first week or two.
Free downloadable content?
I know,
Yeah.
right?
The
Amazing.
hell's going on?
You think that's a new idea?
Cool.
So, yeah,
It's like Gunvolt characters.
yes,
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, right on. That's cool.
That apparently play differently than.
Jason.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
we gotta
pretty cool.
Hop on and download those.
Anyone play anything else that is not on this outline?
Nope.
Oh,
No.
actually, yes. Thanks to Mr. Theobald, my NES Classic has gotten a lot more interesting after this weekend. So instead of
You
having
have to put on an eye patch.
I urinated on it.
Yeah.
yeah, that thing becomes more compelling when you have roughly 570 more games to play on it. And it's been really, really fun going back in time, especially with my kids, to show them some of the brands that they're familiar with. And you should have seen the response that Back to the Future got when we popped that one in.
The bees,
The bees, yes.
all that crap. I rented
Oh,
that
man.
game and it was horrible. Oh my god.
Not a good game.
Yeah, I gotta pop in Karate Kid as well because that's
Good
one
Lord.
I remember renting. Yeah.
Hudson
Why?
Hawk.
So you just got this thing updated so you could just enjoy the crappiest of the crappy NES games? Is that what's going on?
Well, actually,
So I mod this for him. Ethan comes over. We go to see Guardians of the Galaxy, and then we get back, and I mod this thing for him, and I give it to him, and we go and we plug it into my TV so he can try it out, make sure it works and everything. And you suddenly have about 600 games to choose from. NES classics, tons of them.
Yeah.
What do you think
What was
the first
one?
game? What do you think the first game he loads up?
Total Recall.
Anticipation.
Airwolf.
Oh my god.
Should I check out Castlevania 3? Maybe, or what of the
Maybe
Ninja
Super
Gaiden?
Mario Brothers.
Oh, I got Super Mario Brothers 2, the Japanese one on here. That's pretty cool. Or but no, maybe
Airwolf.
yeah.
Hey, it could be worse. It could be Deadly Towers. So,
Knight
No.
Rider.
right.
Which would have been
Skynet.
fitting.
And actually, what I'm doing now, and who knows if I'm going to be able to keep it up, but starting today, I just decided to go down the list alphabetically and try each game for a little bit. So now I know that Ebidox is better than you would think, and Adam's Family is a little bit worse than you'd think.
All right.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so I'm gonna keep going down that. But if I come across any games that surprise me in one direction or the other, I'll bring it up on future episodes. But it is really, really cool to have that, because you can't help but feel like, man, if I had gotten this device with all of those games on it when I was in 6th grade, my head would explode.
Oh yeah, there is something to be said for having. I mean, emulation is easy as well, but having something that plugs in your TV with no fuss, and you pretty much have the entire library in there, the entire library that you care about and more.
Yeah.
It's awesome,
Yeah.
and with a controller that feels like the original controller.
Yes.
Ethan?
Well, so what? Yes, Phil.
If you had gotten that when you were in 6th grade, your head would probably explode because you would have no idea how to hook it up to your TV.
That's
Because
true.
HDMI
Also
ports
true.
would not have been invented for some time yet. So
That is true.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's really pretty cool. And what are the resources that one might want to look at if they're going through the NES library? Are there any good YouTube sites or online review sites that cover all the games?
Yes, there is Dylan Cornelius's website, which I'm trying to remember. Questicle, I think it's called.
Okay, cool. Oh, is that the one where he played through all of the games?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
He has actually restarted that now. So he had it's questicle.net. He went through every single NES game and did a review of them. And now he has restarted it with a new series called FamiQuest. So he's now gone back and is going through all the Famicom games.
Oh, wow.
Now, you see, what's great about him reviewing those also, because I thought it was just him doing playthroughs and recording it and kind of narrating, but he's qualified to review those because he understands the context, having played the whole library, and he's actually completed all the games. That would always be my concern is you read any contemporary reviews of NES games, and it's going to be someone who's played for 15 minutes and wrote something up.
Yeah. Hacker Alias Thorvon3 in the chat says The Ultimate Guide to NES by Pat the NES Punk. That's a really large, I think it's like an $80 book.
Yeah, it's kind of expensive, but it's
got everything in there. It's huge. If you've ever seen pictures of it. I don't have that one, but I have seen it, and it does seem like that would be what you want, Ethan.
Yeah, cool. Well, I will look into that, and that's going to be something I'll happily be playing for many, many more months.
There you go.
Until the NES Classic 2 comes out.
Right.
All right.
You know what? I'm sorry. I didn't update my my what you've been playing, but there was a game that I played this week that I wanted to mention. I talked about this a couple weeks ago, but I got my new cartridge for the
Wisdom Tree
collection.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Did it work this time?
It did. Although it didn't work with my with the Genesis that I have the 32X attached to. I had to take the 32X off, which is too bad.
Well,
but
that's such a hardship.
Well, actually, it is because the RGB cable I have to go into my FrameMeister is the configuration that only works with the Genesis 2 or the 32X. Because the input on the back of the Genesis one is different.
You're going through a lot of trouble for these crappy games.
Yeah.
These are great, man.
They just released them on Steam too, apparently.
Did they really?
Right?
Wisdom Tree games.
Yeah. So played through Bible Adventures, which that was something else.
It?
No, I didn't play through. I played a bunch of all three of the games that come in Bible Adventures, which is Noah's Ark, Baby Moses, and what the heck is the last? Oh my God, I forget the last one.
Blanking.
God, that's terrible. Anyway, they were terrible.
They were so memorable. Clearly.
Yeah, and then there's Joshua, the Battle for Jericho, and Exodus, which were both, I think, Boulder Dash clones.
Oh yeah.
So that's interesting.
Boulder Dash was great.
They weren't too bad, to be honest. And then Spiritual Warfare is like a Zelda clone.
Yeah.
And my favorite part about it was like what they've done with Joshua, Exodus, and Spiritual Warfare. They incorporated Bible trivia between levels, which would earn you like extra lives and things like that. And the fun thing is with Spiritual Warfare is actually set in like a more modern time. And when you go to the when you find an angel flying around the screen, you can go touch them, and then you get into the trivia game. And there are 5 questions, and there's a little face on the screen that reacts to whether you get the questions right or wrong, and it's got this little red bow tie. And when you get a question right, he has this really goofy grin that he brings up, and when you get it wrong, he frowns. But if you get 5 in a row, the bow tie starts to spin. And I don't know why, but it just really caught my eye. It's like, wow, that is something else. Anyway,
well, that's directly from the Bible, actually.
Oh, okay.
When Jesus was multiplying the fish and loaves of bread to feed the multitudes of people, when he first multiplied the fish, well, it started off, he just smiled, and here's 2 loaves of bread, here's 3, and once he got to 5 loaves of bread or more, his little bow tie started spinning around.
Yeah. So anyway, but again, I wanted
the miracle was working.
Yeah, I wanted to thank, I don't know if it's Wisdom Tree or Pico Interactive. I don't know who actually did it, but they sent me another cartridge really quick, like no questions asked. So that was fantastic. Thank you so much. Interesting little piece of history anyway. I thought. I played it for a couple hours one night on Twitch, and people seem to be enjoying it. So,
well, and speaking of history, I saw the world turn this weekend at my latest trip to GameStop. The one that I always go to shifted around its inventory. And first, the big sad news is that they no longer have Vita, which just broke my heart because I used to love going in there, checking, seeing if there was anything that anyone had traded in that was interesting. But now that section's gone, and also the HTC Vive is no longer being demoed there, and that seemed okay because they never seemed to have it on anyway. And I come in just about every weekend, and I asked why that was, and they said, "Well, yeah, the first week someone stole the headset."
Face
And-
cooties.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then they said, so we got another one, but then someone decided to change the password on Steam, and so it locked us out of the machine, so we couldn't use it then, and it was just a big headache. So, yeah, but always very telling when it comes to store rearrangements and what's being supported and what's not, when suddenly sections disappear altogether.
Yes. All right, should we do some tweets?
Sure.
Do it up.
Let's do it. Hackeralius Last Place 09 says, post-mortem, how bummed are you that the Switch still doesn't have an internet browser or Netflix app?
I don't care.
Considering how I use it, I actually really wish it had both of those things. Because I usually play in bed a little bit, and it would be nice to have Netflix available. More importantly, I know with Zelda, when I've been stumped, because I really don't care to be stumped for too long. I just don't care to figure something out. If I can't figure it out after like 10 minutes or so, I will go to GameFAQs or some other internet website and find out what I'm doing wrong. Sure. And boy, would it be very convenient to be able to do that right on the same machine.
That would be nice.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And I am certain that once it's introduced, I will somehow fall into the trap of talking about how incredible it is to have that on my...
I'm counting on it.
Even as I'm saying now that I don't care.
Despite hours and hours and hours of you saying that it's not needed. Yes.
It'd be nice, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't miss it, but it would be nice if they had.
Yeah.
All right, Hackeralius Miri says, what's your all-time favorite Mario Kart track? Any edition and why?
Oh man, that's tough.
Yeah, I don't know.
My favorite is Sunshine Airport. Mario Kart.
Really? Really?
I love Sunshine Airport. I don't know why.
Why is that?
I don't know why. I just like
I'm not mocking you. I'm curious why that's your favorite.
I just like the dodging in and out of planes, and then you go up into the sky and you land when there's a plane taking off. I just find that to be really, really fun track.
Okay. I mean, if we're talking the current game, a lot of the tracks are great in the current game, but big fan of Baby Park.
Yeah, Baby Park is great.
Just because it's so different.
Yeah,
it's
so hectic.
Exactly. Yep. It's just nice to have this really short track where you sort of can't get away from anything, but there's no sort of fault. Like it's just a really simple track, and it just makes it all the more fun. And the Excite Bike track is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Excite Bike. But I love the fact that just like Excite Bike itself, it's almost like someone's creating that track every time because the obstacles are always in different spots every time you play it.
Yeah.
Historically, I would say Wario Stadium on the N64.
That's
really a great track.
Yeah, I played a ton of N64 Mario Kart with multiplayer, and that was a great track because it was so easy to screw over everybody on that track because they had that jump that crossed over, and if you could hit them with a shell just as they hit that jump, they'd lose half a lap immediately.
Yes,
great.
indeed.
Or use that lightning power.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That was a good.
Yeah.
My two favorites. I love Sweet Canyon. That's just a favorite.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh yeah,
And then I do love the Zelda stage, just because that's kind of
so pretty.
It's so pretty, and it's like that promise of when we finally get the All-Stars type of treatment with Mario Kart. That's the type of thing we're going to get.
That's the same reason why I like the F-Zero tracks that they released for Mario Kart as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd probably have to go with the Wario.
Oh, the Wario one's great.
Wario Stadium, yeah.
Yeah. Lots of opportunities to get that set of jumps in to increase your boosts.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right. Hacker alias Trezor says, what are some games you regret never getting around to? Will you ever? I just started Constantine on Xbox.
I have so many games I never got around to.
Yeah, I mean, I can start just now. It's like I really wish that I had picked up Neo. I wanted to play that. I want the new Nier very much. Event Horizon Zero Dawn. I really, really want to play. But all these games, I don't know if I'll play. Never mind the games like XCOM 2 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and these titles that I have in my backlog that also I haven't played. Dead Rising 4, I have sitting there. Played about 40 minutes of it. Lots of good stuff that I just don't know if I'll come back to.
Yeah. I would say my biggest regret, most recent big regret gaming wise, is that I never finished The Witcher 3.
Oh, I can agree with that.
I
Yeah,
adored that game and really would love to play the DLC and never even finished the main game.
Yeah, I'd like to get around to that for sure.
I need to get around to Zero Dawn.
And Yakuza 0. I'd like to get around to that.
I got to get back into that.
Yeah,
the
Yakuza
problem with
0,
a lot of these games for me is like they're not games I can play with Charlotte in the room.
Yep.
And
that definitely changes things.
That makes it really difficult to play anything that has violence. So like I can't play Resident Evil 7. Like I just know I'll never play it because I don't have a point where my daughter's not in the living room, or if I do, it's really late at night, and when she's in bed. But I want to also go to sleep or watch TV or
maybe you spend some time with your wife.
Well, that too.
Though that one, if you're playing on a PSVR, that keeps the screen away from the kids.
Well, I don't have a PSVR.
Yes, indeed.
I do that. Yeah,
but for me, what I'm noticing is just that my backlog feels more egregious now since I've kind of shifted from main systems from PS4 to Switch. It's like now I don't want to buy more PS4 games. I want to kind of, if I have that extra cycle of time, spend it getting through my current back catalog. So I'm just finding that I'm a lot less prone to go buy new games in the store for PS4 or Xbox since it's not my main anymore.
I will say, I mean, I've been kind of feeling that way lately too. I still have a few of the old pre-orders with Amazon from last year that still have, and actually some old pre-orders from Future Shop, if you can believe it, which was closed years ago, but are being honored by Best Buy up here. That I'm sort of, I'm still getting them because they're $20 cheaper and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I think I'm gonna really curb my new game buying. I have too many games that I could be playing. I mean, the next Uncharted game for sure, Gran Turismo, absolutely. But for like the sort of stuff that's not AAA, part of the major series that I love that are full price, I don't know that I'll go out and buy them right away anymore.
Right, especially because games get discounted so quickly.
Right.
These days. I'm saving $20 at launch. Like if you wait just another few weeks,
see that's the thing.
Price.
Yeah, that's the thing, because up here saving $20 at launch only brings the game price down to $50 or $60. So it's not it's a saving, but it's still a lot of money. So I'm almost to the point now where I feel like, you know what, I'm just going to create a list of things that I'm interested in and watch for sales.
Yeah.
Even then, Event Horizon Zero Dawn, I rented it from Redbox. I downloaded it so it's ready to go. I even during that rental window, which I kept the game for 3 days, didn't end up turning it on.
Right.
But I kept the download there because I figured, well, naturally I'm going to add it to my collection eventually. Now it's on sale for 25% off, and I'm still like, I don't know, because the problem is just I don't know when I'm going to get to it. I haven't played Persona 5 for a week. I think I'll go back to it, but I don't know. It's just not fitting as easily into my cycle of game playing.
Well, and you keep calling it Event Horizon. So that might be
that is funny too, yeah.
Yes.
Just Horizon Zero Dawn.
Horizon, yes.
Ethan's enjoying some Event Horizon and some Tumbleweed this week.
Yes.
On my Resident Evil Within.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do this one from Hacker Alias, the Parmaster, who says, "What's the most cash you've made selling a single game? I got Days Before Christmas on the Mega Drive for free and sold it for $230.
Wow. I got some sucker to give me $200 for Radiant Silvergun. Back in
yeah. It wasn't 200. I gave you like 110.
Oh, okay.
Give me a friend discount.
How? Oh, that's right. That's right. Yes. How did my memory though insulate me from remembering that I sold it at less than market rate? I honestly remembered it, but
and I still have it.
Yeah,
there you go.
Good game.
I have not sold any sort of big ticket games at all yet, although I've been considering it. But yeah,
probably one of my recent NES sales.
Yeah,
made a few hundred off those. Yeah,
mine back in the mid 2000s. I sold something on eBay. It was an Elemental Gearbolt gun case.
Oh god, those
right.
gold-plated gun case.
Gold-plated. No, it was just a silver gun case, a gold gun con, and memory card, and a sealed copy of Elemental Gearbolt for the PlayStation 1.
Yep.
And I got a little over $1,300 for that.
Wow.
Nice.
Single game. And I had won that case in a press contest at E3.
Yep.
Nice.
Back in the day from Working Designs, and kept it for many years and then sold it on eBay.
That sounds like a pretty good take.
I would say so. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
All right. Hacker alias Rich Grisham says, when will we get Super Mario Maker on the Switch?
That's really interesting. I don't know if it'll be that fast. I do want to know how they work around the issue of the touchscreen being obscured when you're actually playing on the big screen, because obviously it's easier to make the stages when you're using the touchscreen.
I mean, they already have a game, right? Voez, which only works in touchscreen mode. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're against having a mode in a game that you can only use via the touchscreen, but you could conceivably create levels with a D-pad. It wouldn't be as nice an experience for sure.
It probably would feel like World of Goo, if anything. It would probably they turn the Joy-Cons into pointers.
I don't want to see Super Mario Maker on the Switch unless they add content. To it. Like they took away some stuff. They took away some stuff from Super Mario Maker on the 3DS, like you can only trade levels via Street Pass and all that fun stuff. I would want to see basically a deluxe version of Super Mario Maker, like add in Super Mario Brothers 2 levels, maybe even do Game Boy stuff, because
that'd be awesome.
Interesting
Super
to
Mario
see
Land.
Super Mario Land, like the shooter levels.
Sure. Well, I'm gonna one up
with that.
I'm going to one up even that. Wouldn't it be nice if they popped in a Mario 64 Maker opportunity just to have some enclosed spaces with simple 3D assets that look like Mario 64 assets?
That might be a lot.
The interface for that would be insane, though.
The interface would be really insane. They'd have to make Minecraft. That. I mean, they could conceivably do it, so maybe. I'm more interested in the 2D stuff.
Yeah.
But as long as they're adding stuff to that would be fantastic. Super Mario Maker really is a fantastic little piece of hardware or piece of software there. Even on the 3DS, it's pretty nice. So
I'm just thinking if they were to do something, like that looks like Mario 64, they'd have a totally reasonable conceit to keep the size of the assets very small and simple with just flat shading, because that would fit what they're trying to do historically. No one would have any expectations that it would look, sparkly and new.
All right.
Right.
Yeah. Hacker alias Mr. Nelson says, what was the first game you bought as a kid with your own money where you felt ripped off? Mine was Captain Silver on the Sega Master System.
Golgo 13 for me. I finished. It was a game that was
a short game.
Didn't have much in it. Yeah, I got it because I heard some friends of mine say that it's kind of a more mature thing. It's really violent, and they have exciting scenes where you make it with the ladies and all that, and it was all very PG-13, but the game itself wasn't particularly good, and it was super short.
Okay.
I would say Time Gal on the Sega CD because that's the one that I finished on the demo kiosk before I went home that day
Oh, jeez.
from the store.
Ouch.
So yeah, that kind of sucked.
Mine might be a little controversial depending on how much you believe in the word of Dave Halverson. Wonder
go.
Dog for the Sega CD.
Oh,
Wonder Dog
wow.
was overrated.
I didn't
Dog-
like Wonder Dog.
Wonder Dog's not a good game.
No.
Like I bought it because Game Fan was over the moon about it. So you're playing a cartoon. And
right.
that opening
The
cinematic came up,
production
and I was
values
just like,
were
"This
great.
is so bad."
No, the production values were great, but the game was not good.
No,
I
it wasn't
I
great.
prefer deep, rich, satisfying games that last hundreds of hours, like Strider 2. You know.
Oh, boy.
Strider 2. I got
Oh,
name
boy.
checked in Game Fan because of that game, and I love it. I love the fact that they did that.
Oh,
Absolutely
man.
fantastic. And well, Strider 2. What are you gonna say? I mean, it has unlimited continues, so you can run through it in about a half hour. You're gonna be paying for a PlayStation 1 game.
And misprinted discs, remember?
What's that?
Disc 1 and Disc 2 were misprinted.
Yes, they
Oh,
were.
that's right.
Labels were wrong. You had to start on Disc 2.
I mean, right there, you have to knock off 3 review points.
Yeah.
So Stuart, I remember you and I got into quite the debate about Parappa the Rapper 2, which I wanted to give a really high score to, and you felt was too short. And I was like, we're not Consumer Reports, and you're like, well, we kind of are.
Yeah, absolutely. I stand by that.
Yeah. So you don't
Parappa
think
2,
that Parappa
not a
2
very good game.
the $50? You didn't think it was a good game?
Does anyone have a whole lot of memories of Parappa 2?
No,
I do. I
bet you
finished
anyone
it.
on here. I bet you anyone on here could sit here and without much help sing at least one song from Parappa 1.
Now I could
That's true.
I could choose to
The
game that
fast
by
food
just
level
singing
in
whatever
Parappa
that
2 is the only one that people cared
from
about.
Parappa 2 because you wouldn't remember. But
Right, exactly. So my point. That's my point.
yeah.
The fast food level is the only one people cared about.
I couldn't have told you there was a fast food level until you just said it.
That was the first level.
The first
There you
level. Yeah. That's
Yep.
the only one I really remember. Even Jammer Lammy, I remember those levels.
Yeah.
I remember that more than Parappa 2.
That's
Yeah,
because Jammer Lammy is a better
great.
Jammer Lammy better game than Parappa the Rapper.
Well, it's interesting
I
also
agree with
how
that.
like a really good scene will help you remember the music itself. Guitar Man, the sequence where it's the acoustic guitar. Like I could hum that right now, and part of the reason I remember it, it's a good song, but it's also because that scene, that sequence was so affecting and memorable.
Completely.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, that game needs an HD
God, I'd
remake.
love to see. Yeah, I would love to see that
Man.
available. Like,
It's a short. That is such a short game, and I love it. But
I remember
it
that was
so short.
That was a review that I remember. I think it was you, me, and Jeannie, CJ, who reviewed that for UGM, and we really fretted over our scores for that because it was so short.
Yeah,
But it was so good. Like,
Well,
It's a great game.
Koei is not going to remaster that, but how about another Musu game? That'll be fine, right?
Guitar Man Musu.
I'll take
Yes.
it. I would
Didn't you guys see?
Didn't
Yeah,
you
I
saw the Innes and Nana Onsha are teaming up? And
Yeah.
of
Really?
course, that is the team from Guitar Man and the team from Parappa. So
Yep.
teaming up for something. Project Rabbit, I think is the
I believe it's Rap Rabbit.
Rap Rabbit. That's right. Project Rap Rabbit.
Yep.
I'm down.
So Nana Onsha and Innes teaming up, that can only be something amazing.
Yeah.
I love
Hacker alias P.O. Rowe says, would you like a frames per second readout on the front of all your
God.
consoles? Would you believe what it said?
Nope.
Yes, the one thing I want on the front of my video game console is a big light with a rapidly changing number.
Yeah.
Now,
people
That
hated
wouldn't
the
distract.
light
That
bar.
wouldn't distract it at all.
Yeah, people hated the light bar on the PlayStation 4 controller, and that thing was like facing away from you.
Yeah.
Imagine if you had like a
I want
backlit frames per second thing that even if it was
Yeah.
like changing a little bit, that would not be great. No.
I'm
So
really curious
I
where this
totally
comes from.
agree it's profoundly stupid, but just for 1 second to play devil's advocate, do you remember what was emblazoned on the top of the Gen 1 Genesis? 16-bit. right? Like
Sure.
that idea of technology doing what it can do to give you a better experience. That's not necessarily a brand new
but
idea.
it didn't light up.
It didn't light up and it didn't change every couple seconds as frames are dropped by a fraction of a frame.
Yeah.
You're not jumping from 29.7 to 29.9 to 30.6 to 28.4.
Yeah, and of course this is coming up because the Scorpio dev kit has this feature.
Yeah.
Where it shows it has a screen that shows frames per second on it.
Can you imagine being a person
hardware? Really?
Yeah, on the dev kit, yes.
I feel like that wouldn't be that useful.
No, it wouldn't be.
Would be useful for a dev kit.
No, I'm saying
not
as
really.
as a developer,
Well,
I don't feel like that would be useful.
well,
I would much
actually-
rather have debug text on my screen, that especially if I'm recording footage or something.
Oh yeah, that's
But
true.
I mean, it's way more useful if it's showing up on something I'm already staring at.
That is
Yes.
true.
So,
yeah.
so with this huge 4K push, because my understanding is that really that's just like the PS4 Pro going to be the big selling point of this. What content are people watching in 4K right now? I mean, is Netflix, and I'm totally ignorant on this, but is Netflix, do they offer things in 4K?
Yes, they do. Yeah,
They
a
do.
lot of their
Okay, so
originals
there is content
are in
there.
4K.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazon Instant Video also has stuff in 4K. Yeah. I mean, this is a thing that's becoming more
A thing.
widespread.
Okay.
It's a thing that's becoming a thing.
It's becoming a thing. Yeah. I don't have a 4K television, so I can't take advantage of it, but they are making the content.
Okay.
All right, let's do this one from Hackeralius Rambus Dunk, who says this should be a good month for PSVR with Farpoint and Star Trek Bridge Crew. Have you guys been able to try either?
No.
Nope.
I would say no.
Brilliant
I don't
question, CJ.
I don't know that as one of the two guys on the show that has a PSVR, I don't know that I'm going to pick up either of them either.
Farpoint interests me. Like I'm vaguely interested in it because it's a shooter that supposedly has an interesting story.
Looks
And
beautiful.
It looks beautiful. The commercial's kind of weird though, because they have like somebody standing on the surface of a planet, kind of shooting at alien things, but they're just stationary. And they're not like running, and it's a very weird thing to think, oh, I mean, because it's a VR game, of course you kind of have to be stationary. You're not going to be running anywhere. But it's like you're in the middle of Starship Troopers and all these aliens are coming at you and you're not moving, and that's kind of weird.
Well, isn't it at its heart just another arena shooter though?
I don't know about that one. I honestly
if it
don't
turns
know.
out to be more, if it's something that's getting like an 85 plus on Metacritic or something, then I'll buy it. And that's frankly why I got excited about Resident Evil 7 was it was reviewing very, very well.
I think the arena shooter that you're thinking of is Starblood Arena. And that came
No.
out on PSVR.
What I'm thinking of is every VR game ever made. I mean, it's just the whole mechanic of standing in a circle and shooting things has been just done to death.
That's true. In this, I believe you do move forward and you do some limited jumping and things like that. But I think, if I remember correctly, movement is done by, looking at a space and pressing a button to teleport.
Okay.
Which, of course, everybody kind of does that.
Yeah. Again, I cannot wait to see how much attention PSVR gets at E3. That's going to be so telling.
It is. I mean, every time I go to Target now, I see, or Walmart, see a bunch of PSVRs sitting there.
I mean, I'm interested in both of these, but I'm not rushing out to buy them right now. I am interested to see how they review in the long run. Once they're out and there's some user reviews happening. The Star Trek thing sounds really interesting. I'm not a big Star Trek fan personally.
Neither am I. Yeah.
But it does sound really interesting. So I'm willing to try it.
If it was the Millennium Falcon, I'd be, I think, more interested in it.
Yeah. So I mean, curious to see how it goes. I'm still, for me, the next big VR thing is going to be Gran Turismo whenever that comes out.
GT
It's only 6 months delayed at this point, and no one's even talking about it anymore. But what I played at GDC was great. But yeah, that's probably the next big VR game I'm interested in. It was kind of nice because recently, I forget where it was, but they were clearing out some of their older physical PSVR games. So I ended up grabbing Eve and Battle Tank, whatever it's called,
Battlezone
for like $30 a piece, which was
Oh,
nice.
not bad.
Oh, okay.
So that's a good price for those games because those games are pretty meaty. Yeah, so I was happy to grab those.
I have rigs as well, but I haven't.
Rigs made me sick.
Okay.
I played it and I was just like, oh man, my stomach is doing somersaults. Like, yeah.
That's what happened to me with Eve.
I've heard that Eve is the same way. Yeah, I remember you said that about Eve, but I'm gonna give it a chance because I'm a big fan of space shooters in general. So,
sure.
And I mean, the X-wing thing. God, I wish they'd turn around and make a full game like the X-wing experience on Battlefront. Oh
yeah,
that was so good, so good.
Oh, you guys did see the recent pictures of Palmer Luckey, right?
Yes.
Yeah, whatever. Is that worth talking about?
No.
All right.
Ethan loves chatting about the alt-right figureheads.
All right. Hacker alias Super Barty Bros says, do you have any stories about friends or coworkers who have jumped back into gaming because of the Switch? I have 3 buddies who stopped buying consoles after the PS2, but they jumped back in because of Zelda, Mario Kart, and the portability factor.
I do not.
No, it makes sense to me that is a theme in terms of purchasing. But actually, the thing that surprises me is just that right now, it would seem like you still have to be a pretty core dedicated gamer to even get your hands on one. They're just so hard to find. So that's great. But
yeah, I have a couple of friends who are sort of hardcore gamers who haven't bought a Nintendo console since the Wii, because they were so put off by what the Wii became that they didn't bother with the Wii U, or they just didn't think that it was worth grabbing one that did buy a Switch. So, I mean, there's that. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have listened to a bunch of tech podcasts where there are people who, or lapsed gamers, maybe the N64 or GameCube was their last thing and they bought a Switch.
Wow.
So that's kind of interesting. I don't know anybody personally, though, where the Switch has brought them back in.
No.
But I feel like I'd know a lot of people who would have been that way with the NES Classic had they been able to buy one.
Yeah, seriously.
True. All right, let's wrap up with this one from hacker alias Sean McHugh, who says, do you think old games should be remastered in widescreen to better fit our modern screens?
Yes, as long as it doesn't drastically change the play mechanics somehow.
Well, and I take that a step further and say yes, provided you can also play it in the 4x3 mode.
I don't know. Well, it depends on what you're talking about. If you are talking about 8-bit, 16-bit stuff, then yes. I mean, I think you can look at stuff like Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD, where those were originally 4.3 games that have become widescreen games. I think those work really, really well. So, I mean, I don't miss the fact that, there's no 4.3 mode in Twilight Princess HD or Wind Waker HD. I think it's fine that those don't have that option, right?
Oh, and I guess to be clear, when you look at something like Wind Waker, that was like a significant remaster, that is fine to me. I'm thinking more, I remember when we're talking about like Genesis games and stuff, when we were doing the Sonic's Ultimate Genesis collection, that was in the 16:9 era, and so we did make it so you could play games that way, but it was done through emulation, so it was stretched and it didn't look very good, and that's why it was so important to have the 4x3.
That's gross.
They're always horrible.
Yeah. So if you're really doing kind of a ground up approach and you're fixing the UI and everything, then great, that's fine.
I'm thinking more along the lines of like Dragon's Trap.
Yeah, that's fine. They did a really nice job with that too.
Because when you go back to the original graphics, it stays at a 16:9.
Well, Christian Whitehead, for his Sonic titles, they've ended up making it full 16:9 without any stretching, and it looks great.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Because when the Sonic CD that he did that Sega released was all 69. So yeah, like I said, if you do it the right way, and it's not a game that's going to really affect gameplay in a negative way. And don't ask me for an example of how that would work. But if that were to happen, then yes, I don't want to see it. But otherwise, yeah. And I really don't care about the option to play 69 unless you're talking about some sort of preservation thing. That's a little different. But yeah.
Alrighty. Shall we wrap it up?
Sure.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you would like to comment on something you heard, or perhaps you have a question, you can direct that to @P1 Podcast on the Twitter, or you can go to our internet website at player1podcast.com. There you'll find blog entries about Sega CD stuff from Mr. Greg Seward.
I'm going to break ground on a new one of those this week, I hope.
You'll find blog entries about Flint Hook from Mr. Phil Theobald.
That's also true.
Yes. Generation 16 episodes, whenever those are happening.
I am jumping back into episode 19 this week.
Woo, nice. And you'll find information about the things we've talked about in this episode in our show notes and such. I'll include some relevant links.
Some Amazon.ca web links.
No Amazon.ca links. No. And we link to Scoopfest 17, which we're going to be part of coming up here in Las Vegas the weekend of September 23rd. So you'll definitely want to check that out. We should definitely have the famous Paul on here at some point as a guest to talk more about Scoopfest and about games in general with Mr. Paul Mattingly. All right. And on our website as well, you'll find a message board where you can discuss this episode with us and our other listeners.
If you'd like to subscribe to Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting player1podcast.com or by going to the iTunes Music Store. While you're at the iTunes Music Store, you can also invest $1.99.
Cheap.
Pick up the Player One Podcast iPhone application. It gives you one-touch communication with us via the emails, the Twitters, the what have you. You also have all of our episodes ready to stream right to your listening device. And hey, Android cell phone telephone users, the Player One Podcast iPhone application is available for your listening device as well for that same $1.99.
Also cheap.
You can find that right over there at the Amazon Android Marketplace. We're also on Stitcher Radio. You can like us on Facebook. You can watch archives of our shows and watch us live most weeks on the youtubes.com/P1Podcast. And if you've liked what you've heard, and how could you can head over to patreon.com/P1Podcast. Throw a few shekels our way. It keeps Ethan in that sweet, sweet Fire Emblem DLC. He's going to need a lot of money for that, folks.
It also helps 3 of the 4 hosts afford health care for their children.
That is also true and highly necessary. Visit our GoFundMe pages to find out how you can help us continue to not die.
Yes.
If you have a couple bucks left over, head over to generation-16.com, where you will find a link to Greg Seward's Patreon to help support his fantastic web series about North America's favorite runner-up, the Sega Genesis.
Yes, which is getting back underway this week. So
awesome. Looking forward to it.
So patient.
Looking forward to it. CJ.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Phil.
For
once
everything.
Again.
Yes. Gregory.
Yo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
Well, that's so sweet. Just so kind. And Ethan.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. And quick public service announcement. If you're either watching the show live or listening to it, I believe, anytime before Wednesday, Steins Gate, one of my favorite all-time video games, is on sale on the PSN store for $2.99 if you're a PSN member. And the standard price now is only $4.99. So if you want the best visual novel I have ever tried, please download that and let me know what you think.
Wow, well, there you go.
What a savings.
By Grabthar's Hammer.
What a savings.
Okay. We'll see everybody next week.
Yep.
Toodles.
Later.
Bye.